sentimento bom que me leva pro outro mundo. A vontade de te ver já é maior que tudo. Não existem distâncias no meu novo mundo, tipo coisas da sétima.
Is that what you go by now?
Gomez.
Gomez?
Yes.
Judy Gomes. And Tess Casey,
Hello.
formerly known as Tess COVID.
Percorncool.
Percorncool.
Yeah.
Percorncool. That's what I was going to say. And it's a beautiful Friday in sunny Sunnyvale, California, and we're here to talk about Jiu Jitsu and stuff. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Wonderful.
Tremendous.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Very nice day outside.
It's a lovely day outside to be inside in front of artificial light when we have really nice light outside.
In front of a green screen, yes.
In front of a green screen, yeah. We can actually put outside in the background.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
So that'll be...
Yeah, put like a beach back there.
So usually it's Times Square, but we live in California, so maybe I can do a beach.
Or the Golden Gate Bridge.
Golden Gate Bridge is a good one. The only one that was different that I've done was Gumby wanted us to be on some Star Wars ship thing. Like the...
I like that. Let's get creative.
I want to be underwater.
You know what? I like that too. Let's be mermaids.
Yeah.
Yes. And can you put like a jiu-jitsu gi on us with like mermaid tails underwater?
That'd be
with
cute.
like sharks in the background? Yeah. Is that a thing? Can you do that?
You can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
can do it.
Of course I can. Probably not. But I can definitely put Star Wars back there. Or the beach. Mermaids.
Mermaids.
It'll be an under the sea prom theme thing.
Yeah.
There we go. I can totally do that.
Yeah, we'll take it.
So you guys recently competed at Pans. So this is marking the first time for you guys competing post motherhood. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what was the experience? First of all, how the hell did you get the time to go and train for it and do it? And second, what was the experience like?
Shout out to our husbands. Thank you for watching the babies so that we could train for it.
We're dudes. Just gotta shout out to the husbands out there.
Yes, definitely big credit to my husband for making the sacrifice of watching our kids so that way I can find the time to train. In my situation, not only my husband, but my family, my mother, my dad, my in-laws, things like that. So definitely takes a village to raise a child and be able to train and do all the other cool stuff too. But yeah, it takes a village.
It's super hard as a new mom to find the time to train, especially train hard enough to get ready for a big tournament like Pans. So for me, my kid just turned 2. Tessa's kid is about to turn 1. Yeah. It took me a long time to figure out a routine where I felt like I was training enough to be ready for that. And also I tore my ACL last year. Ooh. So I had surgery in August and, it definitely took some time off being able to train. So it was big. It was a big one for me because I hadn't competed since right before getting pregnant when I was a purple belt in 2015.
Wow. So
I took a long hiatus, had a baby, tore an ACL, but I missed it and I was ready to get back to it.
Nice. Is it like riding a bike? Do you just jump back out there? I mean, what was the experience like?
It kind of was a little bit because Tess and I have competed a long time together at Pans and at Worlds. And it did feel that way. We went together. Our husband stayed here in the Bay Area. We drove down to Irvine. And
just like the good old days.
Yeah, just like the good old
pre-baby,
no
pre-marriage.
Worries. Yeah, just carefree, just worrying about our next tournament. So yeah, it was nice to not have the stress kind of the babies being there and just being able to focus strictly on competing.
Very cool. Yeah, it's actually stacked divisions all over the place in Pans. I noticed so many of the divisions had way more people than I've seen in previous years. I don't know, maybe like the qualification points for some of the adult divisions. I had a lot of friends in Masters divisions where they were stacked, even the larger, like the higher belts, larger people. You're seeing like 20 plus people in these divisions. And a couple years ago, it definitely wasn't that stacked. I don't think anyway, but yeah.
It's definitely less for the women's divisions. This was our first time doing Masters now that we're getting old.
Yeah.
So the competition wasn't as packed as it had been at adult.
Yes, there's definitely more people that adult. But so this tournament was our first time doing masters, and I wanted to do the adult division. However, for black belt level, you have to accumulate points. And with a baby, it's hard for me to, or I think hard for anyone to sign up for all these tournaments where you have to travel and be able to place and accumulate the points in order to qualify for like the Pan American adults or the world adults. So Masters was definitely a good one. Masters at Pans was a good one for us to, get back into, immerse ourselves, and, go back out there into the competition scene with young kids.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I think it's 20 points now you have to accumulate through these other tournaments in order to do adult. And yeah, with that kind of schedule, you guys are all working full time. You have families to, take care of. And then that doesn't even account for all the training you need to even be competitive. Like to go out there and say, I'm going to win at Pans. It's like, yeah, so is everyone else. It's a lot of training.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot of dedication. My
God, yeah.
Yeah, like kind of regressing back. Before I had kids, when I would do tournaments, I felt like the minute I signed up for the tournament, or the minute I mentally told myself, okay, I'm going to do this tournament, my whole life revolved around, preparing for that tournament. My schedule, like that would be my number one priority, whatever would help me with the tournament. So I scheduled like all my workouts, my eating, things like that. But now when you put like a child in the mix, you can't schedule. The number one priority can't be the tournament. It still has to be your child. So that was definitely different this time as opposed to competing before I had a kid, before I had, my own family. So that made it more challenging, but it was great because when I won the gold, I really felt like I won it for my kid. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're out there representing the whole clan. It's very cool. So like the backstory, we'll start with Judy. What got you into jiu-jitsu? Like, where did you start? Like, what would you say your origin is?
My husband, definitely. We met 11 years ago, and at the time, we were both working as personal trainers in a gym, and he was ready to leave personal training to start a job as a mixed martial arts director in Alameda, California. It's where we train at Bladium at a big sports center. So
place is cool.
It's super cool. Yeah. If you're ever in the Bay Area, come check us out. So he came, he took the job. I had been in my last year at Cal. So I didn't really start training back in 2008 when he started the team. But once I graduated in 2009, I didn't have a full-time job yet. I was serving at a restaurant, working Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Monday through Thursday, I was just training jiu-jitsu, just no gi and gi. I was super into it right away. And yeah, that's kind of how I started. He got me into it. Also, when I was in college, I had a roommate who was training, a woman, and she was a blue belt and she was competing. Actually, it's funny because she used to compete against Tess.
No, she was in my last tournament.
Oh, yeah. She was just in our last tournament.
Oh,
wow. Yeah. And so I saw her competing and medaling, and I thought, oh, that seems pretty cool. Like, I think that's something that I could get into also.
It's very cool. It's such a small world. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, so your old college roommate is one of her like rivals, or not rivals, but like competitors.
Tell them the story about her. The first time her and I went competed against each other, when you helped her.
I don't think that's the first time you guys I think that was like the second time you guys competed against each other.
It's just ironic.
Yeah, I used to try. We used to work out together, and I just would try to help her get ready for her competition. Well, this one in particular, and that's how I knew who Tess was.
But this was before we established a friendship.
Yeah, we weren't friends at all.
Oh yeah, make that no, we weren't friends. We were not friends at all.
No, not like we didn't like each other. We just weren't friends. But
yeah, we didn't know each other.
We didn't know each other. I just knew you were like my friend's opponent.
Yeah,
and you beat her. And then the second time, I think the first time I ever talked to you was, you guys competed against each other, and then she won by ref decision. And then I said something to you. I think
we talked.
And then we taled. And then
I was like, let's train.
No, it wasn't then. It was actually at a Leticia camp. Leticia came to the Bay Area, did a really, really big women's seminar. It was like a 3-day camp. And that's when we first decided to train together. Yeah.
Yes. That was good. And then And then since then, I think we've done so many tournaments together where we would go down together. We train with, because Judy and I we actually we're part of different teams, a part of different jiu-jitsu associations, but we make it a point to train together just to get that high level of training with another woman who, you know, wants to train that hard.
Wants that level of competition. So I train with the Carlson Gracie team. Tess is on a Hibero team. But as a woman, you are kind of limited to training with other women. Like, probably there's just a few other women on your team, especially back in the day, in like, you know, 2010 or so, when we were started competing at the higher level. And we just had to make an effort to train together because women move differently. I'm sure you know that. Like, the men, even the small guys, they're not as flexible.
Yes, the techniques are going to be different. Their abilities are going to be different. Their go-to moves are going to be different. So to get the most realistic high-level competition training, I felt like it was very important for me to get together with somebody like Judy and train with her because it was the most realistic to a high-level competition.
Very cool. So you guys have, I know you're part of, or you train with the Sweaty Betties group a lot.
Yeah, shout out Sweaty Betties.
They're super cool. I always see their Facebook posts. There's all kinds of seminars and classes and people donating their time and sort of doing stuff. That's basically like the SF sort of Alameda, Oakland area, or
I would say Bay Area. Yeah. But they're so good for promoting women jiu-jitsu all over. And everyone who's a part of that definitely selflessly gives a lot of their time, energy, efforts, resources to help
spread the word. Yeah. And just to help women feel empowered through martial arts, through self-defense, through jiu-jitsu specifically.
Yeah. Because I could say back in the day when we started, especially like when I started, I think I was probably one of 2 women on the team. And, you know, the moves didn't work for me with the bigger guys and I really get frustrated. And it wasn't until I was a blue belt that I went to one of Molly's open mats with other
Molly
girls.
Kensang Singh is the founder of Sweaty Betties. So shout out to Molly.
Shout out to Molly. That I was able to train with other girls. And that was the first time that I was like, oh my goodness, I'm offensive. I'm throwing up triangles. I'm not just here sitting in my guard getting smashed.
You are offensive.
I very much am. I'm not just there sitting in my guard trying to not let this guy smash me. So, and that was at like blue belt. I had already been doing jiu-jitsu for a year and a half. So it's a totally different aspect and different element when you train with other women, people your size.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm used to the opposite.
Exactly. I was thinking that. You're a big dude. You're probably pretty strong by the looks of you.
Probably.
I think I was. It's like I used to be way smarter. I think I used to be way stronger too. Like, it's just going away now. Just into my 30s. I'm like, just slowing down. No, it's like I almost at one point became like a big person, like apologist. Like, I would roll like a much smaller person because everyone was smaller than me at my gym, and most gyms I'd visit. So I'd feel like if anyone ever commented on, oh, you got that because you're stronger or something, like I didn't take it offensively, but I think I was like very self-conscious about it. So I would like do way more guard work and like would really pride myself on like working back from the bottom regardless. And I'd stick myself in weird positions, just like, I don't know. Everybody was a lot smaller. Not everyone, but if I'm 220 and, you know, whatever, and everyone else isn't.
And Tess and I are 130.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, well, Tess beats me up when we were her and Christina Barlan over at One World, where there's surprisingly, I shouldn't say surprisingly now because there's way more women in jiu-jitsu, but there's a pretty good like pack of women that show up on Sundays.
There's a good crew there.
Yeah, that open mat's crazy. That's like,
a good, people travel.
Yeah.
They commute hours. I make it a point to roll with somebody new every time, and you know, I'll shake their hand and ask them, oh, where they're from, and it'll be, you know, they'll name like Stockton, Tracy. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, and you get some names in there every once in a while, like a lot of competitors, a
lot of black belts too.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's cool, just people, you know, coming out and just mixing it up, and it's kind of the vibe of the place. Mike Prudencio, the One World Jiu-Jitsu owner, was my instructor, really. He's not all business-like about it. He has a gym because he loves jiu-jitsu, and he's not there charging drop-in fees or trying to sell something to people that come. He just wants jiu-jitsu to happen.
Yeah, he was very much involved in the old 3150 philosophy, one mat, one love, and train with everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Which is so different from when I started. My husband is Brazilian and is very old school. I mean, not anymore, but when we started, you didn't really cross-train with other gyms with people that you could potentially be competing against, because why would you show them your moves beforehand? So as a woman, I started with another girl, and then she moved away shortly after. And I was the only woman for a long time. And I so much wanted to be involved with Sweaty Betties and go to the first ever Leticia camp. But my husband wasn't down with it. He didn't really want me going to the dojo where they were hosting it. And I felt like a little bit like removed, like, you know, and
all these girls are training together without me, and they're sharing technique, and I don't know it.
And I want to be there. That looks fun. I want to train with other girls. So, but it was the next year they had it at your gym at Evolve in South City, and I went, and that's when I like got to meet all these really awesome women, and that's when we became friends.
Yeah, and that was a huge turnout of women too.
It was one of the biggest, probably ever. I mean, there was like well over 100 women. Leticia brought a bunch of her top black belts. Penny Thomas came, and Pia Mesquita, and just a bunch of really high level girls. And
we're like starstruck.
We were so yeah. It was. I'm sure you've had that moment, like when you're a young blue or purple belt, and like these big name world champions walk in, and you're just like. That's the most starstruck I think I ever have been in my life.
But you know what? Her camps are so good, and she caters it to the whole gamut of, you know, belt colors. You get a good workout and good training if you're a white belt or if you're a black belt. Because we did that one when we were purple or something.
You were
like
purple,
that?
I was blue.
Yeah, like a lower belt. And then now she has one coming up very soon. When is it? I don't know, but nonetheless, we both registered for it, and we're black belts.
And we're black belts, and
so
we're dishing out $100 or more.
Still trying to get good training through it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I still shell out for seminars. I'm all about going to seminars. Some people aren't as into them. I like the experience. I like you always make a new friend. You always learn at least like one new thing. And yeah, it's cool. That's really awesome. I remember when they were promoting that. That was a giant turnout.
It was huge. And women flew in, I think, from out of state.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We had a couple girls from One World showed up. It was a 2-day thing, right?
3-day.
Yep.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I remember. I was jealous.
Oh, but she's had so many.
Yeah, she's come back, and then she has had some in LA. But it's such a cool experience to have that many women on the mat, and all different levels, and all just
different games.
Yeah, different games, but like so passionate. You know, for girls to be spending like $300 or more to just train, like that's a girl that loves jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's an investment. If you're out there competing, like you want that level of instruction, you want that level of training partner. And yeah, I'd say it's worth it. I mean, I know some seminars are more expensive than others, but I mean, the one I'm going to, Cinco de Mayo, right? Eric Paulson, it's $100, but it's 4 hours. So I don't mind. Yeah, but I'm not going to drive down, and I think he's in LA or something. It's like, I can't just go there tomorrow, but if he's going to be in Redwood City, yeah, I'm going to train. One of my favorite seminars was Michelle Nicolini.
Oh yes, we've been to one of her
Mm-hmm.
seminars too.
My favorite takedown she taught, it was like a guard pull fake to like he snap in and hit the double. He's it works like a charm. It worked really well for me.
Yeah. Definitely my favorite part of the seminars. Obviously, this is my favorite part of any type of training is the rolling portion, right? And you're always like,
Tess always wants to roll.
Yes.
She just wants to get right to it.
And you're always thinking like, oh, is the guest star or the guest instructor, oh, are they going to roll with me? Are they going to choose me? I want to roll with them. I want to see how I do.
Totally.
You know? And yeah, she got to roll with us. It was so much fun.
Well, remember when we did the Mendez Brothers seminar and they rolled with every single
Is that
person?
when? I think that's when Clint first.
Yeah. And they didn't make any exceptions. They rolled with every single person and tapped every single person in a matter of seconds.
Tess gave, was it Guy Mendez? You gave him a good fight. Like you went right after him. You shook hands.
I was trying really hard.
Yeah, like
they're probably like, this bitch. She's one of those coming on all strong.
Yeah. It's like tap hands, go.
I remember it. Like you shook his hand, pulled De La Riva guard immediately, and like you almost swept him. And then he picked up the pace. Like I think he just like he was being all nice, shook his hand, like you're all bam, and he hit it. Like he landed on his hip, and then he like popped back up. I'm like, oh man, she's bringing it.
Sometimes that's one of the fun things about being a smaller, more advanced woman in jiu-jitsu is you can tell that you're catching people off guard. Like you can tell like they don't know you. Like maybe at a One World Open mat, they don't know who you are, and you slap hands and then you just go for it, and then they're like, oh shit, and they better turn it up, and or they don't and they get tapped.
Yeah, definitely.
I get the opposite. I get people who are like trying to murder me immediately, or like
I've definitely done that to you.
Yeah, she goes right out. I'm like, all right, fine. We're doing this. Fuck it. I'll have like either like somebody just going aggro, like Napoleon mode, trying to like destroy me, or like the opposite where they're like too respectful, like almost like they can do much better, but they're being like timid, kind of. I don't know if it's because of the belt respect thing or like I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure you guys get that too. Just like they see your black belt and they roll like real. Like
I think more that they see we're women and then they think like, oh, we better not use all our strength.
But I always tell guys like I feel like when I feel them like letting up on their pressure, like I'm like, no, go ahead, smash me. Like you could smash me. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. Please.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you don't want a guy to go too easy. Like that's another feeling that as a woman is like, no, don't go easy.
Yeah. Like let's make this realistic.
Or if you go easy, then you're gonna get tapped out.
Yeah.
You can still go hard and not be disrespectful, right? Like you don't have to be like, you can actually be competitive without being a dick.
Exactly.
And regardless of the size of the person, like unless they're brand new and just aggro and just don't know how to control themselves, which like I'm going to protect myself first.
I'm not even going to roll with them. Like I'll just be honest. Now I'm over 30. I don't roll with the crazy spazzy white belts because why would I? I'm not trying to get kicked in the face, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. If it's a girl, I will, but like the guys,
you can control the roll.
Yeah, they just, as everyone knows, when you're a white belt, you don't have the technique. You rely on the strength, and then accidents happen. And I'm just not even going to put myself in that situation,
especially after your surgery.
Yeah.
I feel like it takes a while for people to even know what jiu-jitsu is. Like they just kind of go and they do stuff and break a sweat, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is addictive. I'm gonna do it," and it fills that it's addictive thing, and they just do it over and over. But I think it takes like until somewhere between blue and purple before you even start to figure out like what this thing is.
Oh, for sure. Like, I definitely didn't know what I was doing for the first 2.5 years.
Yeah. I think I've been
still don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, I think I was just trying to survive, Yeah. You didn't have a lot of other women. You're just going with bigger dudes all the time. You're just trying to survive. You're just getting your ass kicked every day.
Yeah, this like since I got my black belt, like I can't say like has been a humbling experience because the whole thing is, and I think this is the last honest job, honestly. It's that kind of redundant saying honestly twice, but it's the last honest job. Like how you are is evident by your performance, and if you aren't, you're gonna have a kind of like little pecking order in your gym, and everyone knows. You could be whatever belt you want, but if you don't perform, you don't perform.
You can't fake it.
Nope. It's the last honest job.
Yeah.
That's why when they have these like fake black belts or these dudes who give themselves their own belts, eventually someone's going to call them out. They're going to get found out. Someone who has legit skills can show up at their gym and then just make a fool of them. And you can't fake it.
You saw the guy that he gave himself a brown belt from purple?
Yeah, I think I did see that video.
Okay, like at first I'm like, he's just a crazy person, whatever. I didn't care. I just like laughed it off, but then he named his academy One World. And was like actually saying, I think we don't know him. He just made that name up and just started like running his business as that. He was teaching jiu-jitsu in like a karate school or something.
Yeah, and he had like a good amount of students, right?
We never see that. The camera's from their side. So he could be in a room, like an empty room for all we know. Right. So Sonny, he was doing like a lot of stuff like video and helping with the podcast a lot. He took the video and he put it up on the channel and like kind of just did sort of like he described what it was, like what the guy was saying. He promoted himself and like he like I guess added like annotations to it and stuff. Like I don't know, you really want like subtitles. And every once in a while, like I'll get weird YouTube comments from people, like you can tell it's him, like the actual guy, because he's like the only person like defending it. But you can tell because like the comments rant like the same way the dude rants. But I don't know. Like I don't personally care. You know, there's lots of weird people out there. Like I remember this one guy, he made this move called like the Lug Wrench. And you ever seen that Bullshido website?
No.
It's like it's
yeah.
It's like fake martial arts.
Yeah, I scrolled onto it a little bit.
I would be on that one way too much, and like the Sherdog, like the BJJ part of Sherdog, I would spend like way too much time reading that, like just going through, just bored at work, like totally non-productive. But yeah, there was this one guy, and he was just teaching nonsense. I forgot his name, but he made this move called the Lug Wrench, where like he would be on top of the guy, he would cross their arms like this and just like turn, and his students would tap almost like, but it doesn't hurt.
Like from side control?
Yeah, he would like lay on the guy in side control like this, and then he would just like turn his body and like would turn your arms.
Like, you know what? The way you describe that, I've actually seen people do that.
It's called the Lug Wrench. It's like
and if you're heavy enough, it can work. But yeah, that's weird.
That's not jujitsu.
No,
though.
it's
That's
not
like...
jujitsu. That's
like
just pure pressure. That's just like someone just smashing you with pure like brute strength and size. And...
But there are people, like there's some martial artists, I don't even know what he says he trains, but he has like a whole school of students where he just like doesn't even touch them and they fall down on the ground.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like those fainting goats. Like what are you doing? Like how does he get all these people to buy into it? Like it's so weird.
He must be, I don't know, because where do you find people that just want to believe in fantasy that much? Like it's like no touch knockout or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they had him
I
on.
need to learn that.
You gotta use your Jedi mind tricks.
I'm trading the wrong thing over here.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You gotta work smarter, not harder.
And the one I saw, it was like this older white guy, and he's wearing like the weird Grandmaster gi, and it's like, I don't know what you want to call it. It looks like an old school, like it's got like the vest, whatever. And they had some skeptics come on, like it was like a jiu-jitsu blue belt, and he's like, yeah, try it on me. And he just kind of stood there, and then he did this. He was trying to like karate chop him in the neck, and that's supposed to disable you, and it didn't do anything. He just stood there, and he was saying like, oh, it's because he crossed his toes or something. You can nullify the chi. I'm like, oh, that's it.
I mean,
it's like a wushu finger hold from like Kung Fu Panda.
How effective is that if you can't? It doesn't work if you cross your toes.
It isn't at all. I mean, it's he just scares his students, I think, by yelling at them and they fall down. I don't know. It's like some video game shit. Well, luckily jiu-jitsu works, and we haven't wasting our time.
Tried and tested.
Yeah.
No touch arm bars and invisible kimuras or something. I don't know. Wouldn't work for jiu-jitsu. I don't know. Maybe like the only thing invisible, I think that would work, like severe body odor. I think you might tap to that, but that's actually like a physical thing.
I have a very dull sense of smell, so I would never tap to that.
Jealous. It's like the one sense I have that works very well. Like I have terrible eyes, and all the rest of my senses, except I can definitely smell people at the gym.
Yeah, I mean, I can too. It doesn't. Yeah, it bothers me, but it doesn't repulse me, so I'll continue to roll with them. But since we're both here as women speaking on jiu-jitsu, it's a huge difference between rolling with a really, really sweaty guy that kind of has a little bit of BO, and then your next roll is like with this woman who has the best smelling shampoo, and like
she has like cocoa butter lotion on.
Yes, her gi's so clean. Like, you could smell
fabric
the downy
softener
and the herbal essence, and I'm just like, oh my god, what a huge difference.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
I mean, does every gym kind of have like some like sweaty, kind of slightly stinky guy? I feel like I think
every gym has that. Yeah,
you have that, and then it's kind of like, oh, they want to roll. All right, just gotta hold your breath for a few minutes.
Yeah, it's like deep sea diving.
Yeah.
We had one guy that he was like a naturalist. He comes to the open mat still, so I don't want to single him out. He's a nice guy, but
definitely don't call anyone out.
No, he's cool, but he knows he's into the whole naturalist thing, and he knows he's ripe. He's got to know.
Some people are oblivious to it.
No, he's been talked to.
It's like nose blind.
Like
No,
Oh,
they have to
okay.
be talked to at some point.
One of our black belts, like he wasn't a black belt at the time, but he just bought him a gi. But you got to promise to burn that one. Like he just
And wash this one.
Yes.
yeah, it was like he got him like a really nice showy roll. Like it was
That's
real
nice.
pretty looking. It was worth it.
Oh, that's a good way to get a show your roll. Just come in with the dirty gi all the
is that
time.
what you do? Okay.
Right?
Like-
Just kidding.
I remember back in the day, you'd see people just like they'd train in the morning, they'd hang the gi up, and that would be that, and then they'd wear it later for evening class.
Ew.
That's
Yeah,
gross.
Yeah, I mean,
The worst is when people roll it up and then leave it in their car.
Yeah.
And then they like bring it out the next day.
that gi's never the same. I would.
So the gi smells and your car smells.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gross.
Oh, how do you guys feel about washing your belt?
I wash my belt.
I have washed my belt. But you know what? I do kind of conform to the superstition of, your powers or
yeah.
the technique or the mana is in the belt,
Uh-huh.
So I try not to wash it. But now because I have a small kid who crawls around the house and puts everything in his mouth, the last thing I want him to put in his mouth is my dirty ass belt.
Ooh, so many germs.
Yeah, all the staph. So I do wash my belt on occasion.
Yeah.
I don't usually wash my belt. I usually leave it at the gym. But I'll tell you a quick story. The one time I remember my husband washed my blue belt, he somehow lost it at the laundromat.
Oh no.
And I no longer have that blue belt. But I got my purple like right after. So it wasn't a big deal. But I still missed that blue belt. I wish I had it. He went back there. He checked. It was nowhere to be found.
Oh yeah, then after that you were wearing like a karate blue belt. I remember that. I called you out. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
It's like a long ass Kyokushin one. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty sure I got my purple like the next week, something like that. But see, and so ever since then, I'm like paranoid about washing it. I mean, I washed my black the first, like, because I took it out of the package. It looked too
Yeah,
new.
it's too stiff.
Yeah, too stiff. But I haven't washed it since, and it's been 4 months.
Do you only have one?
I have 2.
Okay.
But I have one that I really like, and then one that's like more of a backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were promoted at One World, they'd give us the cheesiest belts, and like you keep them because you do, but you immediately get your own.
Yeah.
It's like if it was coming from like AKA, like if the promotion thing was done there, the ones over there were even worse. They were like, I don't remember what the brand name, like the most generic, cheapest one you can possibly get, like real thin, like
They cost like $199.
at most,
Yeah.
like at most.
Of course, yeah.
But Mike went all out when we got our black belts. He got Katara ones made, like
That's special. That's
embroidered
nice.
and all this crap. I'm like, oh. So I went on the website. I was like, well, I want to get another one of these so I could like wear one and like just like sit this one, like make those like the belt
Special
container
display
things.
case.
Oh yeah.
Call it a container, damn. See, I used to be smarter.
Mhm.
A belt display case with the little certificate that I paid IBJJF $1 bajillion for.
That we were just talking about. Oh
yeah.
my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's expensive.
And by bajillion, you mean 450?
It's
500?
$450, but the
Probably went up inflation.
Oh,
Because that
right.
was
Yeah,
how many
every
years
year,
ago?
man.
Yeah.
IBJJF is trying to rob us blind.
well, it's
Oh,
not.
great.
Well, you have to take the referees course, which is another like
We
60 to
have
80.
to.
Actually, we should because the rules are constantly changing. So sometimes things happen, and I'm just like,
You never know what's going
What
on.
were they disqualified for now?
So here's when I was like, I'm like going through and like collecting, like I'm trying to level up and get my certificate that I already earned the belt a year earlier. So I'm going through the process. I filled out the thing. I got my background check. They figured out I'm not that creepy. Kidding. Totally.
You know
creepy.
what? I think that's important.
No, that was the part where I'm like, no, I appreciate that. And I'd rather somebody has that. So, okay, they're an instructor. They're teaching children. Damn right. I want to know there's a background check.
100%.
Because you don't know that the academy is going to do that due diligence.
There was actually just an article put out, I think I read it maybe a week ago on Bullshito, about all the registered sex offenders who are teaching jiu-jitsu schools.
And did you see the one, like, they made a big deal about some of them being under, like, Hickson or something? Like, some of Hickson's black belts.
I didn't see that.
There was a thing, like, that the most, like, TMZ thing we have for jiu-jitsu is that BJJEE, the Eastern European one.
Yeah.
Like, anytime there's drama in jiu-jitsu, they cover it.
Yeah.
And like they brought it
I'm all
up.
about that jiu-jitsu drama.
No, I stay out of that. I got my own drama to deal with.
I just fill you in. I read it and then I fill in.
Oh yeah, she keeps me up to date.
yeah.
That's why.
I need to know everything that's happening.
It's like TMZJJ.
And if I do get wind of anything, I just text Judy. I'm like, hey, I heard something about this. What's going on? And then she gives me the whole layout. And I'm like, okay, I'm updated.
Yeah.
Like people can have their drama with their instructors or over money or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care about that stuff. But anytime where it's like someone's victimized, it's kids, it's women, anything like that, I'm like, nope. Nope.
Yeah, that's not right.
I'm not like...
Especially since it's a self-defense.
Yeah.
It's self-defense art, right?
You're like, it's...
That's ironic.
Yeah, I actually never even thought about that perspective. Like you go to this business or this affiliation, this dojo to learn self-defense, so that way you can defend yourself against predators, sexual predators, or any other type of predators. But
you don't expect to go there to be victimized by a predator.
It's predatory behavior. Think of like the trust and like respect and admiration you give your jiu-jitsu instructor, and then to have it flip over on its head, like this person is a predator, or like, I don't know. I'm always like, for most things, I'm like,
sending dick pics or just being perverted.
Dude,
well, luckily I never experienced any of that firsthand. No. Everything I've been involved with has been good and legit.
I was already in a relationship with my professor before he started a gym. So,
oh yeah, there was that article that said that, like, are mat relationships like acceptable or something like that.
I don't know how I feel about that.
So my husband and I, we both train, but we both started training he started training before I met him. I was training before, I met him. So that was just a common interest we had. And now he trains at, my academy, Habero Jiu-Jitsu in South San Francisco. So yeah, we're both on the mat together and we're married, but
what do you think about instructors dating students when they're both consenting adults?
I don't see anything wrong with it.
I think it's okay. But a lot of women in, these women grappling network, Facebook groups, whatever, don't think it's a good idea. I think it kind of looks bad. The black belt is in an authoritative position and has a lot of influence on a student. So, in some ways it can look bad.
I think there's healthy relationships and there's the other side of that. And when it goes wrong or something it isn't handled well, and then the gym has to, eat it kind of.
Yeah.
That sucks. If the relationship works out, whatever, and it's all people are adults and communicate well and everyone's mature and respectful. But you have the chance for things to just blow up in your face. But on the other side of it, it could be awesome because you're sharing something very awesome.
Yeah.
That you both love very much. So it's like it's like working with your spouse or working with somebody that you're dating or in a relationship with. It has the opportunity to suck real bad, but it can also be really convenient and cool.
Yeah.
It's just part of life, part of being an adult.
It's
got to outweigh the
pros and cons.
Yeah.
Like if both people want to train and it's like, well, we could both be here. It saves on the commute, or I could go way over here just because we can't keep our shit together,
I will say that having my husband as my professor has had its challenging times. It's a difficult dynamic when somebody's telling you what to do in one situation and then maybe
you go home and you're telling him what to do.
Yeah, you're trying to tell him what to do, or they still feel like they're that authoritative figure, and it's difficult. I mean, I'm sure anybody who is in a relationship listening or watching who is in a relationship with their black belt, it's complicated.
Yeah, it's like that fine balance, because you want to make sure, on the mat that he still gets the respect from the students, and they don't because if you guys were to fight or something or talk to him a certain way on the mat,
it's like, oh, mom and dad are fighting.
Yeah, it's like it kind of gives the students oh, she talked to him that way, so I can, or oh, blah blah blah. Then it's I don't know, just having people knowing your business and shit. So I don't know, as long as the things can stay sort of separate, but it's gonna be challenging, I'm sure. But
yeah,
I mean, y'all are both solid. Shit. You should teach lessons on that.
Yeah.
So total, you've been 11 years for you?
Yes.
Damn.
11 years.
Are you, how long have you been doing this?
9 years. Yeah. Consistently.
Nice.
Before my husband moved for this job, he would just do privates with some guys. He had the key to a judo school. He was living in Marin. And I would watch. And then I remember one day, one of the dudes brought his girlfriend, and she had a gi and she knew a little bit. But everyone was like white and blue belts. And there were some kids' gis. And my husband was like, why don't you just put one on? So I was like, okay. And I put it on, and I thought, like, I'm a tough girl. Like, I'm strong. And she asked me to roll. So I was like, yeah, why not? I'll try. And she just beat me up in like a matter of seconds, choked me out. I'm like, what? Okay, let's go again. And then again it happened. I think she choked me out in like 10 seconds. And I was like, man, this is effective. I need to learn this. But I couldn't really put the time in until after I graduated. And then I did. And now I'd like to see her again someday.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Coming around.
Just kidding.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I started 11 years ago. I started from so my coach now, Jay Gennaro, I used to work for him, and he was doing jiu-jitsu, would walk around in his gi, and one day he told me, he was like, yeah, you should try it. And I really had no interest. And then he showed me how to properly apply the lion killer choke or the rear naked choke. And then he showed me to do it, just all leverage, no strength. And he did it on me, choked me out, and I was like coughing. But
you're probably holding out, like trying not to tap.
I was trying not to tap,
Yeah.
of course. This is like my natural personality.
Yeah.
So then I thought about it. I was like, man, that move was so freaking cool. And then I just thought about doing jiu-jitsu. And, after he showed me that move, I would like bother him. Like, hey, can I do this? Can I try? Or when are you going to have a class? So I pestered him, and then he finally allowed me into, his jiu-jitsu community, because I don't think he had a lot of girls at that time. So then, he allowed me to start, and I definitely just took to it. I loved it the minute I started it. It was definitely challenging being one of the very few, if not probably, I felt like the only girl, because I was going very consistently, because at that time I was like 19. I had nothing else to do. It's not like now where I have to do a million other things. So my schedule was pretty free to train. So I would go to whatever classes were available. And a lot of the times it would be all men and myself, and, trying to learn the moves. Like we were all white belts. So me trying to learn the moves, them trying to learn the moves, I'm really trying to do it to them. They're really trying to prevent it. It was, I felt like, oh man, maybe these moves don't work. But, after just staying consistent with it, it does show that technique does rule. And now I feel like my technique is really good and solid 11 years later.
Paid off, and it's actually pretty cool. So if you've had mostly larger training partners, and it works for you, it's like, the shit works. It's like a testament to what we're doing is practical and actually does work, and it is effective. Because if you're going to be 3/4 or half the size of your general training partner, your opponent, I feel sorry for the girls that are going out there and going up against you guys, because you guys, they're just, I remember I got into jiu-jitsu, there was like one girl.
Yeah, there's always just that one girl.
There was one.
Does she still train?
I don't know. So I started Half Gracie's in 2005, and there was one woman there. She was a purple belt, and she beat everybody up. She just beat everybody up. And then when I moved over to AKA, I guess like a year and a half later, there was one purple belt, one female purple belt. And eventually we'd have, one or two that would come through, because we had kickboxing as well. So like every once in a while, like we'd talk one of them into coming
That's
over.
how it works.
And, then they realize, oh, well, this works for my schedule. I could do striking this day. Then some of them actually just full on just do jiu-jitsu now, which is cool.
Yeah.
We've got 2 brown belts at One World now. So we still haven't had a black belt. We still haven't had a female black belt. I'm hoping that's a soon thing.
Very soon. And actually talking about like how jiu-jitsu actually works, Judy mentioned earlier that she won't train with, kind of like a bigger white belt that doesn't know much, because of course they're going to revert to what they know, and what they know is very limited technique and more strength. However, I like to kind of train with everybody, because one, I want to make sure what I know works against everybody, and two, that it's applicable like in everyday life for self-defense. I don't, people on the street, like let's say they want to fight you or they want to attack you. Obviously, they don't know anything. So I want to be able to make sure I can control somebody as normal as, the average Joe walking down the street, or, the first time white belt that walks into the dojo. So I like to definitely roll with everybody.
Yeah. I mean, your role as adults, as people, changed drastically 2 and 1 years ago, respectively. Like, your job now is like, when you're out with your kid, it's protect your family, it's protect your kid. Yeah, when your husband's around, okay, now there's 2 of you, but if it's just you and a baby, like, your first and primary responsibility, I don't have to tell y'all, right? So knowing this stuff and being able to handle yourselves, like, yeah, we live in the Bay Area. It's a nice place, but like, not all the time. And there's people out there that just are, that we got a mental health issue in this country.
Oh yeah, especially the Bay Area, especially San Francisco.
Oh yeah, because do you want to be homeless in Chicago where it's cold, or do you want to be homeless where it's nice and sunny and you can, there's lots of people with money you can.
And there's so many resources.
Yeah, you can just go kick it and live down by the Santa Cruz Pier and you'll be fine.
Some panhandlers can make a lot of money, I hear.
Yeah, I've seen like some exposés and stuff on the news where like, they're getting in their car and, they'll jump on a bus and then they take it to some bus stop in like some suburb area and like they'll jump in this really nice car. Like the whole thing was an act.
Yeah.
I believe it.
That's some shame. There's no shame having folks out there. But I don't know. I think if people are like that desperate or like that dishonest with their lives, like karma's a thing. And I don't know exactly how it works on on a higher level, but I know like if you do dishonest things and you do messed up stuff, like, but that doesn't account for mentally ill people or just super aggressive people. You don't know. So like knowing this stuff and like having the just the spatial awareness you learn in jiu-jitsu, like how to get up, how to make space, how to like recognize distance between you and another person, like it's such a valuable skill to have.
For everybody, men, women, kids, definitely. Yeah. I can't wait to get my little child in a jiu-jitsu gi and start pushing him around, have him grapple me, try to armbar me.
It's the coolest thing, like just seeing kids get into it and how stoked they get. Like I remember like a couple parents coming into AKA, their kids weren't, doing so good in school and like they're acting up and hyper bouncing off the wall. And it's like, got to burn that energy off.
Yeah.
And they get in there and, they come back and the parents are like, man, it's like night and day. Their grades are going up. Like they're respectful at home. They're doing all their homework. It's like, it's jiu-jitsu is great for kids. I mean, at some point, if I have them, if and when, like I'm supposed to have kids, just do that. Everyone's supposed to, right? I want them to get into wrestling. I want them to get into jiu-jitsu. So I'll be like, you can never do those things. Yeah. Because of course, like they'll rebel. Like I already have it all planned out. Yeah. It's going to reverse psychology, that shit. Like, no wrestling ever. So like my dad told me I could never play football and I didn't want to until he said that. I don't even like football.
That's their way to defy you.
Yeah. I'm like, no, my dad never wanted me to play football. I'm like,
well, but that's so dangerous.
No, that was the point.
The concussion rate's high.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Like, I'm not interested in it like, at all. I've never really sat there and watched it. Like, I've been to a game a couple times and like I was just trying to see what kind of food they had. Like,
yeah, it was more just the fact that you were told not to.
I think growing up, you always want to do what your parents tell you not to do. I mean, the best way to get someone to do something is tell them not to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wanted me to play basketball, and we watched basketball together. So I played basketball until like I was tall until everyone else got taller. So that was useless after that. But I got into like wrestling in grade school, then middle school. So he was cool with that.
Speaking of that, I'd like to see jiu-jitsu become a sport, like in school.
Sport, yeah. Well, in United Arab Emirates, it's pretty big there. I think it's part of their like PE system.
Wow.
It's funny, like judo isn't even, like we don't even have judo in schools. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like you would think, I mean, in Brazil they do, and like lots of countries they do. We don't have it here. And that's like, that's supposed to be like, I mean, you have it in colleges, but like, I don't think there's any NCAA judo. It's in the Olympics.
I'm sure that'll change.
Hopefully.
Especially with UFC, helping it grow and stuff like that.
wouldn't it be ironic if like BJJ or Jiu Jitsu, like they're not going to call the sport BJJ in the Olympics. Like they wouldn't. Think about it. Like they don't call it like Chinese table tennis,
Yeah,
or like
Japanese judo,
or like American basketball or something. So like they just call it jiu-jitsu. I bet. And they could spell it however they want. I just hope the rules kind of look more like what we're doing, whether it's gi or no gi or.
Yeah.
But I could see it in the Olympics for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one more sport that our athletes would be underpaid to do in the Olympics.
Yeah.
So one more set of underappreciated athletes, but at least as Olympic athletes, you get to see the actual struggle, and the mainstream would see it. And it's like, man, it's a beautiful thing. More people could do it. More people would have access to it. But I mean, if it was in schools, if it was in the Olympics, it wouldn't cost $150 a month to do anymore. Right? It's kind of a boutique martial art now.
You're right. I never thought about that. It is.
Karate, Taekwondo, all that other stuff that, like, I'm not saying that's not hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't do a split. I can't jump up, spin around, kick a dude off a horse. They can, but that shit's like $30.
Choke someone out.
Yeah, it's like, how much is karate? Like $50 a month?
No, my sister pays for Taekwondo. I think she pays over $150 because their belt promotion system is crazy.
Oh.
She has to be paying like $100 every other month for their next belt. And
stripes.
you know how kids, they're getting like a new stripe belt every 2 months. And
there's 10 belts and 4 stripes per belt. And there's belt testing fees.
They're making a killing.
Oh my God.
At that school, at least.
I've never been to it. I mean, I have lots of friends that have the stripe thing, but I've never been to a gym or been a part of a gym that does stripes on the belts.
Mm-hmm.
So we would just get promoted when it just happened when it happened.
That was a big surprise.
Yeah, but it's like years later, so you're just like, you already forgot all about it.
Oh.
Like you go through that process where you're like, man, I should really be that belt now. I want to be a blue belt so bad. And then like by the time like you've already completely forgot all about it and lost hope that it's ever going to happen, you're just like, oh yeah, you're a blue belt now. Like,
does everyone feel that way where you see someone else get promoted and you're like all baby about it and feel sad? Like, I should have got promoted. I was held at blue belt for a really long time. So I felt like that. I feel like I was blue belt for like 4 years.
Blue was my longest belt too. I think 3.5 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Mine was white, then blue. I was like over 3 years at white.
Why?
Because I switched gyms at white.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
an idiot.
Yeah.
My main instructor, because Batata was still at Half Gracie's when I was there. And then I wound up like tearing a ligament in my damn elbow. And so I got to get surgery, which I probably shouldn't have gotten. Like looking back at it, hindsight being 2020, it was the dumbest thing. I'd have been fine. There was no real reason to get it. I woke up in like the recovery room of the stupid surgery thing, saw like 10 other people in their recovery thing as well. And I'm like, oh, it's a business. Like,
I don't know. I feel like with my ACL, there's some people who don't get surgery, but then you could think the same way. You could think like if you didn't get the surgery and then it gets messed up later, I should have got the surgery.
Oh, no. Knee, that's different. A torn ACL, like you can either not have an ACL and just be in pain all the time, or if you got to fix it. If you want to walk right, you want to be able to perform, you got to fix an ACL. Mine was, my arm just hurt a little bit and I couldn't really straighten it that well. But it just, and then
So it's pretty minor, like slight discomfort?
It sucked at the time, but thinking back about it, like the recovery took so long, they wound up having to open it again because they cut a damn nerve to where like half my hand went to sleep for like the next 2 years.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was stupid. Like this is still like pins and needles, like kind of numb on like lower ulnar nerve. It's like I learned.
Goodness.
Yeah, it was so stupid. I'm like, no, if I just didn't get the surgery, none of that would happen, and I still can't straighten my arms. Doesn't matter.
Oh.
Stupid.
So you're just like permanent T-Rex?
Kind of, a little bit.
Oh.
I mean, like it's not all.
Well, you
way.
won't get armbarred. That's good.
No, I'll hide here all the time. Exactly. But no, with an ACL for sure.
But I mean, I guess there's some people, mine was fully torn, but there's some people, if it's like a 1st degree tear and they're just perfectly content doing yoga or hiking, they can go the rest of their lives without getting it. But if you're going to do a sport like jiu-jitsu, you can't be training with a fully torn ACL. Next thing you know, your meniscus is going to go and MCL is going to go and it'll be all bad. So yeah, you would have to but I do know a girl who did that plasma, whatever it's
the PRP
PRP,
injections.
yeah, and it worked for her.
I've heard a lot of good stuff with knees on that as well. The PRP and then like now the stem cell shots, which is like, did you see it was like Mel Gibson and his father were on Joe Rogan Experience.
No.
They apparently, this is like the first time I saw Mel Gibson since he's got all racist on whatever.
Oh, that was so long ago.
Yeah, that's like the first Mel Gibson thing I've heard in years. And he shows up on the Joe Rogan Experience talking about this, his father's like elderly. And he winds up taking him to some country, like maybe like in the Bahamas or something. And they do intravenous stem cells. So not just like, I think the other one's called like Regenikine that they inject between your discs or whatever in your spine or like in knees or whatever. But this is supposed to be like some like super highly concentrated version of that. That's like, it just like fixes stuff. Yeah. If you look up like, this is like the Google keyword would be like Mel Gibson, Joe Rogan stem cells stuff. And that sounds like, dude, that's kind of random. Like you'll probably get a ton of hits and like it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on the whatever his podcast episode, 1,000 fucking whatever it is. That guy records so much content. It's ridiculous. Talks for 3.5 hours, almost every show.
How many episodes do you have?
I think this is 75.
Okay, that's a good number.
Because I was doing a show with one of our brown belts, Cash, for a little bit. We were kind of just doing co-host thing, and then I started doing this one solo. And before that, I was doing one with Kyle Kingsbury. So we had a brown belt podcast, and then we got our black belts. So it was like shit. So like he moved to Austin. He's working with he's the On It podcast now.
Oh,
so
cool.
He works for those dudes.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. But we had, like, our voices are like very similar.
Oh yeah.
So you didn't really know who the hell you're talking to.
I listened to a podcast that's two women, and for the first like 3 episodes, I never knew who was who. But it's funny, the more you listen, then you can like really recognize who's who. So probably your real listeners will know your voice.
I didn't once.
You didn't even know?
I was like, I don't remember saying that. I'm like, that's not me.
Oh, that's
All
going to be
right.
a hard one.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I even tried like messing with the mixer a little bit and like add a little reverb to his. It didn't matter. So it was fun though.
Then you should have just said a whole bunch of crazy shit and blamed it on him.
Oh, that would be cool.
He's got a kid. I'm too nice.
I'm just totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I'm too
Don't take
nice. I
that
like my
context.
He's bigger than me. So like, see, that's the other side of it. Like when there is.
So you're nice and you're scared.
Not scared, aware.
Yeah,
I'm
I like-
respectful.
okay, I like
it would be a commitment. It would like, it's like getting in a fight with like an Islander, like a Samoan guy or something like that. You got to be really sure you're committed to this thing because you're not just going to hit him once. It's going to be a thing. They don't just go down.
I'm like a little dog. Like, I bark. But okay, so I never have been in a real fight. But the closest I ever came to being in a real fight, it was at a laundromat. It sounds so stupid.
I remember the
World
story
star.
and I love it. Go ahead. I love it. It is a world star.
It's so stupid. Okay, I have a house now. We have a washing machine, so luckily it's not a concern anymore. But a few years back, maybe like 6 years ago, I think I was like a blue belt or purple belt. I was at the laundromat and I was in a big rush, and my husband, he was like, no, let's not go on a Sunday. That's a bad idea. It's going to be packed. And I was like, we're going to go so quick. We're going to be in and out. It's really early. Don't worry. Let's do this. We have to do laundry. And so I run in there. There's these 3 washing machines open. So I just start throwing my clothes in. And the next thing I know, this huge chick, like 6 foot at least, maybe 240 pounds, comes up to me and she's like, I wanted to use that machine. And I'm like, I look to my right, I look to my left. I'm like, those are both open. Why don't you use one of those? And she's like, nope, I wanted to use that one. And I saw what was, she's trying to punk me. That's what it was. And I was like, well, too bad. I'm already using it. And next thing I know, she's like standing there giving me dirty looks. So like a little tattletale, I go to the attendant working and I'm like, excuse me, can you tell this woman that she can't reserve a washing machine? And so the guy comes over and he's like, what's going on? And I said, oh, she's just trying to reserve this. And the woman was like, oh, I wanted to use that one. And he's like, no reserve. You can't reserve. And then she just starts getting like all crazy with me and telling her brother or someone, she's like, I don't like her attitude. I'm like, what attitude? You're trying to punk me. And that it escalated a little bit further. Next thing I know, her brother, he's like real tall, stands behind her. And then my husband's standing behind me. And then other people in the laundromat are looking over. And then some woman's trying to get involved and tell us to calm down. The guy working, the attendant, tries to give us free detergent to calm us down. And
Oh,
but then,
peace.
but eventually we let it go. We left. I was worried that she was going to try to mess up my clothes. I mean, it would have been so embarrassing to like have really gotten in a fight.
Bleach all over colors.
I'm gonna put a pink sock in there.
Yes, everything's
Yeah, but my husband, I was like, but I could have taken her, right? You think I would have, even though she was so much bigger? He's like, well, yeah, as soon as you got to her back, it would have been over.
Oh, he's like strategizing it jujitsu.
Yeah,
way. We would have done this.
I wasn't. If it came down to it, I think I would have. Yeah, I think I would have gotten her back.
Oh, of course, girl. Of course you would have.
She was big and she was strong, but she did not know jujitsu. Come on,
Yeah.
She did not have technique.
She get tired real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, if her whole experience is scrapping in laundromats, I mean, those can't be long fights, right? Like
Probably
she
not,
wouldn't have had the cardio. We're not talking parking lot. We're talking like laundromat fight.
Yeah.
That's like maybe like the DMV or maybe a McDonald's lobby or something. Like,
Yeah, her base and balance is probably horrible.
Yeah, just tip over. It's 240 at 6 foot tall, and
So big.
I'm guessing she wasn't like shredded. She was just like a big lady.
Yeah, just a big lady. I think at one point she said something like, no one's going to save you. And I was like, okay, Lil Wayne, my husband is a black belt. And then she's like, you don't see me bringing my Marine brother into this. And the both of them looked at each other and like neither of them wanted to get involved.
They're probably looking at you guys like, what the hell?
Like, no, but we just doing laundry though. Like,
Yeah, seriously.
I'm like, we need one machine.
But see, that's a good thing about jiu-jitsu. You won't get punked because you have the confidence. I mean, maybe I was a little stupid, but there's so many people in life. They're just big and they just push their weight around, and people back down because they're scared because they don't want any trouble. And then eventually one day those people are going to mess with the wrong person.
Yeah, it's like you got this area. You have all these like bullies on the road and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you'll see it. They'll tailgate somebody. They'll pull up, and I've seen it in traffic a bunch of times. Like they'll see somebody like they do something wrong, or like they went their lane almost, and it was like obviously like an accident. I saw one Chinese guy like just get absolutely like punked by this guy, just screaming shit at him. Like the guy's trying to fight him. Like the guy didn't mean to like almost hit his car. He made a mistake. He went back, and then like he's just sitting here like terrified. This guy's like screaming at him, and I'm like, I bet this shit happens all the time.
There was a guy in my ACL physical therapy group training who was in there because he tore his ACL from a fight that happened during road rage. And the guy was like, pull over. And he's like, yeah, let's fight. And they pulled over and they fought and then tore his ACL.
Terrible idea.
You know what? With that, at the end of the day, like, is something like that, is a feud like that with somebody that you just met worth any type of confrontation, whether you know jujitsu or not? Like, is it worth it to go toe to toe with somebody you don't even know, like not knowing what lengths they'll go to, not knowing, what weapons they might have, sometimes it's better just to walk away if you can,
It's very foolish to enter in anything like that. I just remember my brothers telling me when I was younger and stuff, I was born and raised in New Jersey, and the one thing about
Hard Knocks,
there's just too many people there. There's too many people for the amount of space you have, especially on the roads. So he would always tell me, he's like, keep your hands down. It's like you go flipping somebody off, you're fighting. Like you fully should expect to fight, and you went and did it. So if they pull over, we pull over. You're getting out of the fucking car and you're fighting. Mm-hmm. That's it. You earned it. Like that's yours. So he's like, you just got to expect that. Like there's too many people, and it's like if you do something stupid or you're disrespectful, you learn your lesson. You're gonna get out of the car and you're fighting. And it's like that was enough to just be like, all right.
Do you find as a big guy that people want to fight you?
Yeah.
I want to fight you.
She's a bully.
I'll see you on Sunday.
She just knows she can beat anybody, so she doesn't care how big they are.
I think
it's like the big dog, right? The big dog.
The little chihuahua.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she hurts more in Chihuahua though. She does stuff. She chokes and things. Like you and Christina both, like you both try to kill me, and you're both super flexible, and I'm like, fuck. All right. So I'm trying to be like not too like fat and pressury but I'm like, okay, I want to beat that move. Like I don't want to just be like, look, I'm big.
You want to finesse it.
Well, I want the right move to match what like what we're doing, not to just be like blanket. That's boring. It's not fun.
Well, what's funny is for a smaller person, my game is definitely a more pressure smash type game. And a lot of the times when I roll with new people, the first thing they'll say to me is like, how much do you weigh? And I'll tell them, 122, but like, you feel like you're 300 pounds. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you.
Which, by the way, that's always a big compliment for women in jiu-jitsu.
In jiu-jitsu. Yeah. But, if you say, you think I'm 300 pounds on the street, then, we might have a problem.
That's rude.
Yeah, that is rude. But on the mat, it's like, oh, you feel like you're 300 pounds. Oh, well, thank you. I'll take it.
It's like the one place where you can actually ask a woman her weight. It's okay. I get self-conscious. I'm like 150.
Liar.
I know. I'm like,
in the morning.
Yeah.
On a good day.
So what do you do when like you're in a situation like people don't know who you are, they don't know you train jiu-jitsu, whatever, they just see a big guy and they want to start a fight with you? Do you just walk away? Do you even?
I try not to like go full bore with it. If it's unavoidable, then it's unavoidable, and like that's pretty far. If it's anything like someone's like there's really like a safety issue, like a legit safety issue, I'm gonna respond and I'm gonna defend. I'm gonna do what I have to do. If somebody comes into my house, like they're getting fucked up.
Oh, for sure.
But like if it's something stupid, like I'm undefeated at bar fights because I don't go to the bar. Like I'm not interested. Yeah. Like I don't deal with just silliness. And things aren't. I don't know. A lot of people like to argue and just get into fights over stupid stuff. It's like it's not that important to me to convince anyone of anything.
Yeah.
Like,
especially someone you don't know or care about.
Yeah, I never get in these online arguments with people because I don't care that much. People are going to disagree with me, and someone said something mean about me on the internet. Yeah, and
doesn't affect anything about your life.
No,
yeah.
Like I'll sleep like a baby. Like I don't, or a baby that can sleep all night. I think that's a misnomer.
Not my baby.
Like a 2-year-old, like sleeps about 3, maybe.
My baby doesn't sleep that well. So neither do I.
Yeah, not a newborn baby.
Yeah, I never got that because they're like, oh, sleep like a baby. I'm like, cute. I mean, like they don't. They're usually waking up. Like every student I have that has a kid, like they're not there anymore because they're all like hair's doing this shit. Like, I haven't slept in weeks.
Well, I mean, talking about that, like I feel like a lot of people, especially like the higher belt people, the higher belt jiu-jitsu practitioners have a level of confidence in themselves to know like what they're capable of, so they don't have to prove themselves to anybody. So I feel like a lot of people, do jiu-jitsu as a self-defense and something that they're equipped with when needed, as opposed to like going out there and just being a jerk and starting fights. I can't see someone who is a high level jiu-jitsu practitioner just acting like that.
Yeah,
I hope not.
Honestly, when people...
I feel like it was back in the day in Rio. That's how it used to be. Like, jiu-jitsu used to have a really bad reputation.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know about
that.
this.
And because it was like a lot of these guys like going to the clubs and just
starting shit.
Just wreaking havoc.
That's crazy.
Breaking everything, fighting,
just mataliao and freaking arm bars everywhere, toe holds.
Oh, not the gentle art.
They used to roll in with pit bulls and stuff into the clubs and shit. Yeah.
Oh, you know about this too. See, I never texted you about this. I'm not up to date with this.
So if you want well, obviously you get some pretty good stories at home. Somebody that was with Ryan Gracie in like the height of
Ryan Gracie is like the craziest of the crazy, right?
Mauricio Alonso, KOA in Newark. Like it's kind of close to One World. That dude he's like an OG Ryan Gracie black belt. And he was like right in the mix when all this stuff, like when the craziness in the club and the fights and the stories, he told some on camera, which was like, cause he was on right before and after his Josh Koscheck fight. But when the camera went off, like I can't repeat him on camera, but y'all have to go see Mauricio. He's got some stories. Like they don't even sound real, but like, Ryan Gracie, I think the one thing that sort of sets the tone was like, about those guys, like, I think Ryan Gracie's like, he's not afraid of anybody. He's like, except his brother Half. Yeah. It's like, but like, if you knew Half back in the day, like he was pretty intense. He's cool. He's really chill now. I like Half a lot, but the Ryan Gracie stories back in the day going into, because it's ironic. It's a bully proof thing, Gracie bully proof. But like back in the day, it was kind of the dick martial art.
Like you were the bully. Like you knew you were the bully.
Like no mom would want her daughter to be training a jiu-jitsu guy.
Oh, really?
It was like that.
Oh.
I remember with my ex-wife's family, like when they found out I did jiu-jitsu, like they were like, they turned their nose up at it. Like it was like a class
you were
thing.
married to a Brazilian.
Yeah, for like 9 years.
I knew you were in a relationship with one. I didn't know you were married.
Yeah, we were married like 9 years, and when we'd go back to Brazil, like I would train when I visit. Like we'd go like a month out of the year. So I'm like, cool, see y'all, because they just want to talk, eat bonbons, and fucking watch.
Did you pick up a lot of Portuguese?
Yeah, because
awesome.
they didn't speak English on the mat. Like
Nice.
they didn't. It was Goiânia. We weren't in Rio.
Oh, yeah.
So like nobody is really speaking much English there, especially
Yeah.
at the time. Like, so yeah, you wanted to go to a pharmacy and buy some headache medicine. You better learn what the hell it is. You're hungry. You want to find the bathroom. Like if you don't learn the words, like you're just gonna sit there with your thumb in your butt, and that doesn't help.
No.
Speaking about that, talking about that,
Thumbs in your butt?
I kind of no, yeah, actually no, not that.
On the topic of thumbs in the
But
rectum.
no, the Portuguese, picking up the Portuguese, I kind of feel like since we do participate in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, that it's important to kind of keep the integrity of it, and like when moves are shown, for it to be called what it is.
Except it's not called anything. Like Brazilians never
We were
named
talking
anything.
about this, remember?
Yeah.
When
Because I used to like to name stuff, and
you just made it up.
Yeah, my husband would be like, "What?"
You just
and
made it
then
up.
I think I told him I'm like quarter guard, and he's like, "What is quarter guard?" I'm like, "No, it's like it's not half. It's like below the knee, above the ankle. It's quarter guard." And he was
He's
laughing.
Like, that's half
Yeah,
guard.
she
He's
made
like,
it.
"That's half guard." I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
well,
what. Yeah, that's what
Americans know.
Yeah.
Because you would add all these different things. Like the craziest I saw was the 10th planet system, on how I saw that, like a mind map.
Yeah.
You start with a topic and then you like kind of just like splinter off, and there's a mind map kind of thing of like all the techniques in 10th planet.
And all the crazy names.
It's like the size of this wall. Like if you were to print it all out, and you can click each one and it goes to an instructional, and the transitions and the submissions and sweeps off of those techniques. And they're named some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
There's like New York, New Jersey, crackhead control, like I don't know.
Crackhead control. That's funny.
There's a crackhead control.
What's the most famous? Truck and vaporizer.
Truck and vaporizer. There's the electric chair.
Oh, electric chair. Yeah, that's probably.
I think that's pretty
Twister.
standard. Everyone knows the electric chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the. Yeah, what was that was the one where he went in the rematch with what's his name, Hoyler, and he had him in the vaporizer, and he's like, I wasn't in trouble. I was dominating the whole fight. Like those guys.
So funny. That's
like,
so.
They're like almost 50 now, and they're still talking shit.
Oh, I watched that one. Yeah.
I thought Eddie won, personally,
Yeah, he won.
but I like Hoyler, but I thought Eddie won.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to, but I don't know, like to be in that vaporizer thing, because that's basically you have like a shin lock. It's almost a toe hold and a slicer at the same time on your knee.
Yeah, but Hoyler did a good job of looking calm, cool, and collected in that hold. He didn't make it look like it phased him.
Was he limping after?
Barely. He did not want to sell pain in that. And that is a painful ass move. Like people, like if they're not like super flexible anyway, but even if they are, the minute you get a hold of that, because you're not pulling like back by the toe, you're kind of pulling the side of the foot. So you're kind of shin locking the guy as you're toe holding him, as you're slicing him. It's horrible. And you're already twisted in a knot. Like you're already in that twister, sort of like hips in the wrong position, like hip over hip position. Like, fuck.
But I mean, that's amazing to be in a position where you're in so much pain and discomfort, or for anyone else to be in so much pain and discomfort, and you are looking like you're laying back drinking a Mai Tai.
I don't know how that, you could see like there were certain points where like you could see some urgency, like where he would stop blocking the hand and stuff. But for the most part, he didn't sell it at all. Like he didn't act like he was in trouble.
He looked chill, right?
Yeah, no, that was bad. Like that can't, like, I don't know if he got surgery after that or just removed all the ligaments before he went in, like, or was just morphine out of his mind going on the mat.
Or just has such great mind over
Yeah,
matter
I think
control.
that's what it is. It's so many years of jiu-jitsu and just staying calm in uncomfortable situations.
Mm-hmm.
That's like what's his name? Vinny Magliash, when what's his name had him in the armbar. It wasn't Fabricio, was it? Was it Verdum? Like it was an ADCC thing where like he's like torquing his arm, he's like gonna finish him, but he never taps and he winds up beating him. It's like he's just in this armbar this whole time, and it's gross looking. Arms folding upside down, and it's like the guy's not double jointed. He didn't want to tap. He's like,
That's crazy.
It's already popped. What are you going to do?
That's like Jacques Ray, right?
Yeah.
Broke his arm.
I'll definitely tap. I'll tap before any of my bones break. Or if something gets torn. Oh, it's not worth it. I mean, that's what the tap is for.
Yeah, we get
Prevent getting hurt.
We get a safe word. Like, not many things have that. So I think taking advantage of it's probably bright. It's a lot smarter.
Have you guys ever been put to sleep?
Yeah.
I actually have not.
No, I've not.
I've put people to sleep.
Yeah,
but I have not. And actually, when I put people to sleep, when they wake up, they kind of wake up like excited.
Tanya, right? Was one of them.
Yeah, almost like in this daze, like, oh, where am I? But they're very, very excited. So I'm kind of thinking like, hey, what's that feel like? I kind of want to experience that, but I've never been put to sleep.
You feel kind of high.
Exactly. Yeah. Kind of high.
It was. Mine was an accident. Like, we were drilling a bow and arrow choke, and the guy like he had it on, and I thought I tapped, but I tapped my own leg, but I was already like pretty deep in and didn't realize it. And then, like, I guess I woke up a second or so later, and I was like, that was awesome.
That's a nice nap.
Yeah, it felt like the most refreshing feeling, waking up. Like,
really?
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Like the people would wake up and they looked like refreshed. Like they looked like they had this awesome siesta nap.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I kind of want that, but no, actually no. Because then how many brain cells do you kill?
Oh, that's not good. I only have put two people to sleep, and one was excited like Tanya when you did.
Yeah.
And then the other was more like, really relaxed, and everyone was asking like, why didn't you tap? We told you to tap. We saw it coming. And he said he was just thinking about how he was going to get out of it, and then he just took too long to think about it.
Yeah, it comes on quicker sometimes than you think. I've put one person to sleep twice, and they just don't tap. And
there's some people like that.
I noticed that I'll go sort of let go of stuff because they don't tap in sort of joint locks anymore. So I just choked this person now because, like, I don't want it on my first of all, I don't want to hurt anybody because I don't want to hurt anybody, but I also don't want it on my conscience. That
somebody has to get surgery from a move that you did or something like that.
For me, it feels like I did something wrong. Like, I was unsafe. Like, it's like you broke a training partner. You know what I mean? Like, it's like my pride. Like, it's not going to change anything in my life. Like, I'm sorry. Like, at this stage, I don't measure my self-worth whether I get tapped or tapped anybody.
Oh,
like,
for sure. Yeah.
Like, if I worked harder or I do better than I did yesterday, great. If I don't, cool, I'll do even better the next day. But, like, if I tap somebody, I won't even try to tap people for like a week on end because all I'm trying to do is work guard retention. My whole thing is I just don't want to get my guard passed. If I get my guard passed, then gonna get back. Like, I'll just work specific stuff. Like, and if it's boring to my training partners, like, sorry, pass my guard. Like, all I'm really doing is just like not getting my open guard passed. Like, I'll pick stuff like that. Like, I'll theme a week just to do it. And if I get smashed every single time, then I'll get better by the second week, third week, whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, the sleep stuff. I'd rather put someone to sleep than, like, pop their arm or something.
Yeah.
I feel really, I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't feel like if you're the one applying the joint lock, like the arm bar or whatever, and somebody else, and they get hurt from it,
it's their fault.
I feel like it's their fault. Because they need to know their body. They need to know the level of resistance. They need to know when it hurts and when it's too much, and to freaking tap. Like, people need to know their own limitations. Like, for example, and there are a lot of people out there that will get hurt and kind of blame the other person that they rolled with. Like, oh, I rolled with so and so and she armbarred me and now my elbow hurts. Right?
Should have tapped sooner.
You should have tapped sooner. I mean, that's what the tap's for, especially if you've been doing jiu-jitsu for at least 6 months. The tap is a move.
Respect the tap.
Respect the tap. Like, for example, when you got into your scramble and I think this is probably why we're so close because of your attitude towards everything. When you got into your scramble and you popped your knee, and when you told me about it, you're like, yeah, I was being dumb. And you totally owned up to it.
Oh, but that wasn't a submission. That was just an accident.
No, but even though, people will sit there and try to blame the other person for they're aggro when you were going just as hard and just as crazy. I mean, it's two people.
I mean, it's a fight. Like, how are you not going to try to go for a submission? That's stupid.
Yeah,
it's fight school. Like, people get hurt. Like, if you think you're going to go and never get hurt, never get injured, it's not realistic. But I think it has a lot to do with, it's the same kind of people that don't take responsibility for their stuff in general, though.
Yeah.
Like, that person did it. I'm
like
not
Joanna. who just lost at Thug Rose.
Oh, did she not?
Well, she said the first time around it was like her nutritionist, and she had a hard weight cut. And
there's always an excuse.
yeah, some people are just excuse makers.
But sometimes the reason is just you fucked up.
You're just not that good.
You just fucked up.
Or you need to make a change and fix whatever you're doing wrong.
Yeah. Go back to the drawing board. See where you messed up, and practice differently.
I'm wrong all the time. It's fine. It's a learning experience, and I think a lot of people like fight you to the death over being right about stuff, and like it's not that important to me. Like,
I get over things too. You have to, or else it'll just eat you up inside.
It's like, I think there's a difference between like you can have conviction and believe in whatever you believe in, but like I reserve the right to be wrong whenever. Like, oh, that was really silly, and this makes way more sense. I'm not sure why I was so passionate about that thing. All right. I don't know. I think the world's way bigger than we realize.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Everybody has their own experiences and stuff. I'm trying to be in like beginner mode more. I don't know. I think like I'll see like purple belts and brown belts. Like they'll go to a class, they'll go to a seminar, and like, oh, they already know this, or like they're like totally zoning out, or like they're not present. Like I don't know. I think it's easy to develop an ego like in jiu-jitsu and with anything. But I think like that beginner mode, like beginner mindset versus like being a know-it-all, like I think it's easier to like stagnate with that other sort of mindset and just going in like being willing to learn from anyone that, you never know.
But you could in this sport, you could seriously learn from anyone and everyone. The slightest little detail. Like some people, like some white belts naturally do things freaking amazing and it works. And some, you'll ask them like, oh, how'd you do that? And they'll show you. And it's just like, oh shit, I can add that to my repertoire of moves,
Or like just a good black belt who maybe isn't so accomplished in competition just is phenomenal at explaining things in a way that it clicks.
Yeah, and making things relatable, and it's like, hey, remember that one thing where you're doing? Well, hey, it's just a little like that, but change this one little detail. And it's like just being able to connect the dots, because everyone learns so differently, and just sort of, I don't know, just being able to be exposed to all these different styles and training partners and stuff. Bushesha watches Facebook. He watches like a lot of Facebook jiu-jitsu videos, like instructionals and stuff. Yeah. And he's like one of the best guys in the world, like arguably, right? Like, yeah. He watches Facebook instructionals.
Yeah, I watch the flow grappling instructionals sometimes, and I watch all the top girls' YouTube videos of their matches, and then I try it out for the week. So kind of like you do of like not submitting, I'll like try certain girls' moves.
Yeah, it's definitely good to try the new moves as opposed to just
doing the same old
thing, because eventually people catch on to what you do.
Not really with you, though. I feel like you have a pretty...
I definitely do the same thing.
But you still get everybody.
My 5 moves that I go to, I always go to.
No one can defend them.
You know what? It's funny. I was teaching the women's class last night. Now, I showed them one of the sweeps that I always do. And I was like, man, I love the sweep. This sweep always works for me, no matter what. And they looked at me, they're like, yes, this always works for you. We know you're setting it up. We know it's coming. We can't freaking stop it.
Yeah.
So
it's good to, continue to practice your strengths too.
Yeah. But also add new things. That way, that's how you develop your game, right?
Yeah.
So all your training partners are going to be excellent at defending that one day.
Hopefully, yeah.
But you know what the benefit of that is, if they're excellent at defending it, it'll make me strengthen that move even more so.
Yep. And you basically are just setting traps for them, because like the more you sort of learn one move, like a lot of knowing that move is learning, like it's being really good at failing. Like, how does that move fail? Okay, well, if it fails this way, this happens or this happens. Yeah. So you can be, the sweep didn't work and you're already ready for that choke. And the choke didn't go out. There's the armbar, there's the sweep. Like you're already projecting out. So they're like, oh, I know this move. You're like, yeah, I know you know this move. That's why you're getting armbarred. It's like,
yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, sometimes I'll do that with lower belts. I'll just like do the same submission just to see if they change.
Yeah, I do that too, just to teach them, because then it's kind of like, man, you let me get the same move on you. You're not learning.
Yeah.
What is the lady? She's like black belt. I think she's a world champion. She was one of the seminar.
Was it Lana?
Lana,
She's
yes.
Awesome. Love
Lana
her.
Stefanik.
The way she teaches cross collar choke. I do cross collar choke all the time now.
Her little detail, her details are great, right?
Yeah, she's saying like,
oh yeah,
like the
rinky,
pinky,
the rinky.
I've been finishing so many cross collar chokes lately, and
Yeah.
the people just look at you like you just got me with the jiu-jitsu, like the 101, like the
Basic move.
the
Yeah.
thing you learn the first day. I'm like, yep.
My all-time biggest rival is a Cobrinha girl who beat me 3 times. But the 4th time I fought her, it was at Abu Dhabi Trials. I hit her with a Lana Bolo. It's like a Baron Bolo, but a half Bolo. And I beat her, and it was like one of the happiest moments. I didn't win the trip to Abu Dhabi. I missed it by 1 point against Sarah Black.
Yeah.
But I was still so happy that I finally beat my big rival with the Lana Bolo.
I want to. Is that Googleable? Can you look up?
I don't know. I mean, the video is not posted, but I could show you after this.
I gotta see the Lana Bolo.
Lana's technique. Oh my gosh, I love it because everything about her technique it's easy, but it's so just
Effective.
work.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, it works. So
And she's
well.
really, really humble. And for those of you that don't know, Lana Stefanik beat Kira Gracie and Gabby Garcia when she was a brown belt at Worlds. And she's just very humble and a very
she's
awesome
good
person.
Yeah.
Really good instructor.
And I've learned a lot of good sneaky techniques from her that I still do now, and I love it. And every time if I hit it on someone and they ask me to show them, I'll show them. But and I'll always say, "Oh yeah, I learned this from Lana."
There's so many good people in the Bay Area.
There are. It's I used to think like LA was like the Mecca, right? But just in the Bay Area alone, we have so many people and way less traffic. Like there's so many like high level people all over the place, and like it seems like every year we get like a new, world champion something or other. Like all the Kaio guys are here. We have all the Aries guys. That was like all the same thing at one point though. Right?
Yeah.
So like that whole crew over there. Like there's Checkmat here now. I think,
Yeah, there was someone with a Checkmat sticker on their car at my gym last night.
oh great. Well,
It's like, where'd that come from?
Bay Jiu Jitsu's Checkmat now, isn't it?
Oh, is that why?
And then they have Luch in San Jose. My buddy owns that with some other guys. So, like, I'm not part of Checkmat, but I get invited to the seminars. There's like, this is kind of cool. So they have a lot of really good guys. Like, they had Michelle, they had Leo Vieira,
Oh, cool.
and Mackenzie Dern, and what's her name, Catherine
Katarini Fuhet or something like that.
Perret or something.
Yeah,
She's the one like
the dreads.
she has the dreads and like she's always smiling, like really big smile. They were just like kicking it there. It was cool. But yeah, there's so many people.
I feel like cross training is more accepted nowadays.
Yeah, some gyms aren't into it still. It's some associations are like, nope, they keep it in the family. But for the most part, yeah, like we're all kind of guerrilla jiu-jitsu lineage at One World, so we're like that whole thing is train with everyone. That's like a trademark. I think they actually trademarked train with everyone. I don't know. But cool. We've put in a solid 90 for the fine people out there in jiu-jitsu internet world.
Yeah, we talk too much.
I know it's Friday. And I don't want y'all to get stuck going to traffic back
no.
up home. So
And it's 4:20.
oh, it's 4:20. Is it 4:20 p.m.? on
No,
4:20?
it's 4:43, but
On
it's
420.
It's 4:20, the date. And
Oh,
there could be
yeah.
a lot of traffic going into the city.
Oh, so lame. I don't care. I'm not really a pot guy. I use CBD, so that helps a lot. I had the sciatic nerve get pinched, and chiropractic. I even tried cupping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had marks on my back. It didn't actually do anything.
Oh.
Did it feel like any type of relief?
When
I always wanted to try that.
when they took them off.
Yeah, I
Oh
went
yeah,
too.
so it's like they put this pressure and then they release it and you're just like, okay.
Yeah. Imagine you have like your hand's hurting real bad, and then someone steps on your foot. Your hand. How bad's your hand hurting now? Right.
Yeah.
It's like that. To me, I don't know, but I could be full of shit. It could be wonderful, but I mean everything.
To each his own.
Foam rolling using one of those big ass like plastic foam PVC foam roller things that does like marginal for the thing. I use CBD. There's like a USADA one to where like you won't actually fail a drug test, and it relieved the nerve being all, so I could actually train, which is
Nice.
But it's legal. You don't have to worry about a drug test.
yeah. Well, no, because there's the stuff that does have THC in it. If you were to go through testing, like IBJJF, for example, if you're on the podium and if you fail for pot, like if there was THC in the CBD, like that's going to be a failed test. And for like
THC is a PED?
you can't have THC in your system at all. Like anything with like any MMA, any jiu-jitsu, like you can't.
That's so dumb.
Think like which of the Diaz brothers? Like Nick Diaz was banned for how many years?
Yeah.
For pot.
For weed. Yeah.
Yep. And
so
like
dumb.
all the steroid offenses and like hitting people with a car and
Well, that
I mean, that's
that guy.
I can see that one.
No, that guy's able to come back whenever because he's a star. But like Nick Diaz, like it's crazy. It's stupid. It's backwards. I don't think it's a PED, but I'm not a pot guy, so it's whatever. Happy that day to everyone because I'm not anti. I just don't care that much. Like I feel like whatever people want to do with their lives, that's fine. When people are like so into it, it's like they're like a gimmick, like their thing, like they just talk about it and with a shirt and stuff. I guess I'm too old for that shit.
Like jujitsu.
Jiu-jitsu's awesome though. It's totally different.
No, I'm just kidding because we're sitting here wearing jujitsu shirts.
We all have them.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
You're not.
She has it now.
I haven't.
She's not wearing it.
But you're kind of living it though. You got the gym, you got the jiu-jitsu husband at home, you got the whole deal.
Jiu-jitsu baby.
Yeah, she does awesome collar drags. Her 2-year-old.
Yeah.
That's
so
dope.
cute.
It's her move. Double legs. Those are her moves.
My dog has a jiu-jitsu dog collar.
Oh yeah, mine too.
She's got the black belt one. I thought about getting her the blue one, but I'm like, nah. If you're gonna go for it, you just gotta go for it.
You know what's funny? I have a friend who started jiu-jitsu not too long ago, and he's a white belt, but he totally got into jiu-jitsu. Like he's buying full on like Control Industries sweat fits and wearing it, and it's
cute.
And it's so funny because you know I'm a black belt, but I don't like drape myself out in jiu-jitsu clothes when I'm not. Going to a tournament or whatever, and I kind of just looked at him like, "You're that guy, you're that white belt," and we kind of just laughed. It was funny. I'm gonna call him out, and I'm gonna have him watch this, so hopefully he doesn't feel bad that I'm calling him out. No name.
So this is the part where generally, if you guys have like any shout outs you want to give, like want to drop an Instagram handle, I don't know what y'all do.
Oh yeah,
You got a sponsor
Sure.
or something?
Follow me at Jiu Jitsu Judy. And if you want to come train at my gym, it's in Alameda. It's located in a huge sports center called Bladium. Our team name is Rio Combat Team. We are a Carlson Gracie affiliate. I also coach at a gym called 4 Elements Fitness that is very LGBT friendly, owned by Sean Tamarambucci. It's a really awesome, safe space. I teach there Tuesday nights, 6 to 7 p.m. And they have a lot of other beginner classes. But for anybody in that LGBT community who is looking for a safe space to train, come check it out.
Very cool.
And so for me, you could follow me at TESSFIT BJJ TessFit BJJ on Instagram. I want to give a shout out to my very, very supportive husband, because without him, I wouldn't be able to do everything that I try to do and encompass in my life. And then also, if you want to come train with me, I train at Evolve Training Center in South San Francisco. My coach there is awesome, Jay Gennaro.
He's very cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. The reason I'm in this sport, been my coach from day one, still my coach now. We're a Habero Jiu-Jitsu affiliate, and I teach the women's class. Well, it's me and a co-coach. She's probably the main one because she's definitely more involved. I kind of just drop in whenever and show moves whenever I'm not like taking care of my baby or working. But her name is Jane Gennaro. It's my coach's wife. So we have a very awesome and it's growing really well women's class at 7:30 on Wednesdays. So come by for one of our normal classes or our women's class. And then we also have a really good open mat, no fees on Friday from 6 to 8. And actually that's where I'm headed after this.
Oh, and one more thing for women. There's Sweaty Buddies as a women's open mat on Sundays from 9:45 a.m. until 11 a.m. That's currently held at the Guardian Gym. So that's open, free to all women.
Very cool. Well, it's been a pleasure. I thank you guys very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Clint.
Yeah, it took a little while to organize it, but everyone's schedule. I'm glad you guys finally made it. Happy Friday, happy April 20th, because that's the thing. And shout out to Want versus Need for keeping us, rocking nice skis and stuff. So everybody have a great day, and thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
De tudo, sentimento bom que me leva pro outro mundo. A vontade de te ver já é mais. existem distâncias no meu novo mundo, tipo coisas da sétima arte.